What is up, dtube, Steam blockchain? So today I want to talk about why dtube has a bright future ahead. And today there was another day where Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp had a downtime of 6 hours. It's still sort of down, but you can sort of, this is not the first time it happens. It's probably the hundredth time it happens, and it's mainly because they're running on not good technology. They are not having great systems. But the bright future of DTube is not just that other sort of systems are failing, but it is that there is a big issue in terms of how content is structured on, for example, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. It's something called brand association. So you get into this weird system where, for example, to scale to different sorts of brands on these other platforms, there's no way. Yeah, sure, you can have a page. Let's say you can have a channel with their own sort of brand, but the problem is you're still being sorted into a massive feed where everyone can post anything, and it's not really that great because brand association means that McDonald's is going to be at the same place as anyone in the whole world that want to post something, for example, on Twitter or whatever. It's they get associated sort of with that, and how DTube wants to do it is eventually you have. So first of all, an open source blockchain, Avalon, and how they sort of want to do it eventually is that you can have different brands with different tokens with different governance systems, but it's not. Then, for example, we can see it already right now with Paul Tube. So you can click a little button and then you can only see content under a specific brand, under a specific niche, and it gives those that created that brand, it gives them a more influence on what they sort of want to do. And this is just not something that is possible with Instagram. It's not possible with YouTube. It's not possible because you have really no control over the related section. It can really be anything, and there is no way then to build a community around something. It's just because you don't have that structure, you don't have that technology. It's not you it's just not possible. So that is a big thing about it, that there is no great way of organize there's no great way of organize content and roles and properly align incentives. And yeah, so that is the main thing why YouTube really has a bright future. The second part is that we see sort of how corruption uh, has started to seep into many other platforms, where everything becomes extremely political. And the reason mainly why that happens, if you ask me, is because I mean the users have no stake in the platform. So a user, if they upload some video, it really doesn't affect their investment in many ways, because in many ways, for example, on YouTube or on Instagram or on Twitter, you can do a lot of shock based content, you can do a lot of click based content, and it doesn't really affect you even if your content is sort of bad in many ways. If you look at in terms of quality perspective, like a lot of people can see that that's bad content. The moment you got the click, then you got the advertisement money, and then you sort of already won. So even if you in a many ways have a negative effect on the global sort of community at large, you're still being rewarded. And that kind of changes with token systems. And the main way it changes is the main people that is going to reward a piece of content is going to be people that have done some level of proof of brain stuff. That means that just people that are not invested in a particular system, they cannot massively, in many ways, corrupt the system. So what you're trying to create with something like dtube is a system that has properly aligned incentives and that properly puts out rewards in people that have done some level of proof of brain, that has done some level of activity or some level of contribution. And this is very, very interesting because it creates a lot of influence for the person that decides that they want to invest in something with their time and energy, and it becomes it's just a better way of mining value and having more properly aligned roles. So the second big point there is that the other platforms do it's super much political stuff, and it's so much in level fighting, and it really corrupts the systems from within because nobody really feels like there's a level of respect in in various roles that people have, and whatever. You have the advertiser incentive, you have YouTube's incentive, and then you have how YouTube use looks at a lot of users just as leechers. And then you have the creator side. So instead of having four different random parts in the whole ecosystem, you really just align everything to more of a win-win system. And then that's really what you want to do. So many people, these services being down and all, it's just going to keep happening because because in terms of scale, there's going to be more people that have access to technology. There's more people that are going to make accounts, and if you then can't scale governance, for example, yeah, as I said in the past, like YouTube content creators that are vested in the platform, they should also run the platform in many ways. They should have community leaders. If you don't have a scalable system like that, people are just going to be very, very annoyed. There's not going to be any accountability. There's not going to be any responsibility. It's just going to be a toy platform, and then eventually content is going to degrade into who can make the most clickbaity stuff that just looks at the short term aspect. So these two reasons is why DTube has a bright future ahead. I can, at the moment, if we just look at video side, I cannot see a real competitor to DTube. And I'm sure it will come eventually. Especially, yeah, live stream. I can see that, but that's not really DTube's niche. And what else? Do we have some other form of content? I mean, yeah, Instagram is trying to do video. They have sort of some level of niche, but I can't see a large competitor at the moment to DTube. I just can't see it. So so it's something that I feel needs to sort of be repeated a lot, because if I would see a competitor come up, something that is genuinely something that is genuinely awesome, then I would love to talk about it. But the thing also with the competitor is, first, they do not have the experience of seeing how social media blockchains goes down. For example, DTube has been on the Steam blockchain, so in many ways they have seen both amazing technology and what happens when you have bad distribution of rewards. And so they've used great technology, the best on the market, Steam blockchain, the core technology behind it. They've also seen the limits of DPoS systems, and they've been in this space for I think soon around 2 years, and observing this token based systems, it means that they really have an edge. So even if you get some form of token system coming up that that maybe has similar quality as the Avalon blockchain, they will not have the wisdom or the experience of observing chaos. They will basically have to pay their time, which is probably going to be 2 years time, just looking at. I mean, we've seen it on the Steam blockchain. We've seen a lot of stuff fail, and I mean, really a lot of stuff fail. So a new competitor would basically have to go through that period where they just see in many ways chaos and destruction for 2 years, and then they have to also try to sort of build a starting foundation, some starting community, because trying to build something that is new and has real creators, and not just the people just uh, cross posting from their centralized platforms, but trying to build something that's real, that is a challenge. I don't think most people in many ways underestimate the challenge of that, and how many years just doing that it takes to run experiments and to see what truly works. So yeah, dtube has a really really bright future ahead, and it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out. For example, what I have noticed during just this short phase where it has had right now just a test net on the dtube chain, but I've already noticed that many people that used to post on YouTube, they are mainly now starting to become more loyal to dtube, in terms of a lot of creators see, well, now it sort of makes sense. If I do a YouTube video, I can easily post it on dtube. But it's very interesting also because you can sort of see that a lot of new creators, they do a new YouTube channel just to post on dtube. So you can see that loyalty. I can see many new creators that probably wouldn't, especially I've seen it in the last few weeks, many new creators that was not there before. And it mainly happens because better technology, better systems, efficient systems. Just give people what they want, right? You just give, make it easy. People always think, well, it sort of is easy, but it can always become easier, and it can always bring more value to the end user. Two things at the moment I see that needs improvements with DTube is the first thing I would say is there should be a way to do video responses to a video and have it at the bottom of the video, because that is very relevant information, and it also gives some nice promotion to someone that see a piece of content and then do a response to that content. So this is something that YouTube sort of removed. They did not like this. They removed it completely because they did not like to see people actually communicate with people. And the other thing is, in a way, I'm not really sure how you can make comment sections more engaging, because it definitely would need some improvement, because we have seen that the basic comment system on YouTube for 10 years, it hasn't been proven to be that engaging or successful. It's interesting, the topic of comment sections, if you can really make them come back in some way. I'm not quite sure, but it is something that is interesting because there are two types of comments. Some comments are just they're just posting, you know, the one-liner comments that are not really saying something particular. And then you have the comments that are super much more in depth, and it's very interesting if you would in a way design a system that incentivizes people to put more effort into comments, because that would make not just the video interface super engaging, but it would also make the comment section super engaging. Imagine if everyone had super engaging comments. I don't like this idea that you see on many platforms, or I think they have it on Steam, where they try, oh, we're just gonna post the 500 comments just for 500 comments, and then we do a challenge who can do the most comments. I don't believe that just more quantity is going to improve comment sections, because it's just gonna make people chat in the comment section, and in many ways chats we can use other apps for that. Telegram, for example, chats is short one liner or sometimes more lines, and we can use a chat app for that. But the comment section below a video, it would be super interesting if they were super much in depth, and this requires people to think a little bit more. And I also think that if you really want to make this a thing, you probably need also a reward system that mainly focuses on comments in many ways. But I haven't really been thinking about it too much, about what is the future of comment sections, what is, how are people gonna engage with that. For example, on YouTube, we see many people use disable comment systems, and it's mainly because there's no way. For example, a big thing is for big creators, it's really hard to take in all the data, right? If you are a big creator, there's no time for you to read hundreds of comments per day. It just becomes this place of just too much information inflow. So yeah, it's interesting that people are gonna engage with that, but lots of improvements can be done with comment systems. Lots of fun, lots of fun stuff. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about today. And the reason why I'm doing this video right now more as a podcast style is because it's late at night, and I sort of enjoy, I really want video to grow, because I would prefer it if most Steam articles was instantly in video form. It would just be easier to consume, and yeah, imagine if everything was just easy access to video. No, or I mean audio form. I mean, that would be super cool. But yeah, it really has a bright future ahead, and yeah, that's all I wanted to say in this video. Have an awesome day, dtube test chain, and Steam blockchain. Bye bye.